Hi again, YouTube. The second video, this is Maya K again. The second video I wanted to post in reference to teaching in Korea, teaching English as a second language in Korea, is um, what co-teaching is. And we've heard of co-pilot. We know that it basically means that you will be teaching with someone else, just like the co-pilot helps the pilot fly the plane. If something goes down and the pilot, he starts to get a little twitchy or he got to go to the bathroom, that's what it is. It's two people coming together to work for the same goal and common purpose. Okay. Notice that I paused. I just want to encourage anyone, especially if you're coming through the EPIC program, to just understand that every school is going to be different. So, regardless of what you learn in orientation, it is just teaching you the basics, the foundation. This is what to expect. They're going to train you for different scenarios. They're going to train you how to prepare lesson plans. They're going to train you for different things. That's what an orientation is. And it also gives you a chance to adapt. My orientation was 10 days, so you eat some Korean food during the orientation, and you just, you kind of learn how things are going to start going. But until you get to your school, you really won't know. I just want to let everyone know that's coming to Korea to teach English as a second language or considering it to take down any expectations that you have of it being your classroom. That's not the way it works. Co-teaching is just that you have two teachers. The Korean teacher um, will be the English speaking Korean teacher in the classroom with you. Just understand that if you have your own idea of what you're going to do and what you're going to teach, the average school, if not all of them, they have textbooks that they follow. So you are going to follow the model of the textbook. You may have a co-teacher that says to you, oh, well, let's just steer away from it a little bit. We can do this, but I'd like to add this part in. Do you have any ideas for games? Or they may say, I like, let's just follow the book to the T. I've heard different native teachers say they've had the one experience where they do follow the book maybe for 20 minutes of class, and then another 20 minutes they do more exciting things for the children or something that's not in the book. But you may be at a school and you may be with a co-teacher who wants to follow the book to the T. Your job, because again, remember you're adapting to their culture. It's not about you. It's about the children. So ultimately, your job is to get together with your co-teacher and try to understand and figure out how you both can effectively teach them the English language. I just also want to put out there you have to be very careful because it's not as much about grammar, punctuation, the kind of English that we're taught in America. We're learning a different kind of English in a sense of I shouldn't say a different kind. It's the English language, but we're not just teaching or taught how to speak it. We're taught how to write it. We're taught how it should look, as far as what a paragraph, what one sentence, if it's too long, it's a run on. That's not what you're here to do. Their biggest thing, and they will tell you in the orientation, is pronunciation and accuracy. Um, so for someone like me, I'm a creative writer. I write novels, I write screenplays. So I'm big on the written word. So I had to kind of just shake that off and realize that this is what it was. This is what they want to teach them. Your job is to make sure they understand the words that they're saying and that they're saying them correctly. Don't get in your own way. Okay, don't get caught up in what you feel like they should learn. Because at the end of the day, the truth remains that the Korean teacher at one point was a Korean student. And she has been through school, or he, and understands this is the way it just is. It's not that they don't want them to have a great understanding of where the apostrophe goes. Does it go before the S or after the S, depending on the sentence structure? Is not that that's not important, but so many of them, I teach at an elementary school. So many of the students are still just trying to grab hold of the language. They don't want to complicate it anymore. So, in keeping in tune with the first video of adapting to the culture, just understand that regardless of what you're taught in orientation or what they tell you about how you're the main teacher and your co-teacher helps you, well, in my case, I would say about 50% of the time, if not really all the time, They tell me what they need me to do, and then I follow, and I follow their lead. And you just have to understand that that's the way it is. It doesn't mean that they don't value you. It doesn't mean that they don't value you. It doesn't mean that you're not appreciated. But regardless of what your job description said on the website you signed up, if you went through a recruiter, just understand that part of adapting to the culture is adapting to their way of teaching and the children's way of learning. So you just act, being humble. This all goes with humility. Ask the co-teachers that you're assigned. I have three. You could have one. It depends on the school situation. You could even have more than one school. I was thankful that my process was a little easy. I teach at one school, one elementary school. Some of the native teachers that I know that were in orientation with me, they may have two and three schools. I teach third through sixth grade with one kindergarten class and three after school classes that are first and second grade. So just understand that regardless of what you've learned in orientation, just know that you may have to adapt and make some changes. They taught us how to make lesson plans and they drilled that into our heads. And I was under the impression I was ready the first day, thought I was going to be drawing out lesson plans, and that's not what it was. I was handed a book and was told to find games to match this lesson. Okay, I'm a game finder. I'll take it. But I take pride in the job that I have in knowing, yeah, at times it was a little frustrating because if I hear the Korean teacher pronouncing a word incorrectly and I'm like, that's not the way you say it, I don't want to embarrass her because that's not my job. I'm not an English perfectionist. But yes, you brought me here to teach English. So if she's saying a word that I know isn't correct and I'm just trying to help, but I've learned, and that's one thing you have to learn, is that you're at their school. Okay, so just be easy. Don't be hard on yourself thinking you're doing something wrong. I'm trying to keep the video as positive as possible. I still have 11 weeks left, so I'm not the kind of person that wants to try to put all this stuff out there. You got to learn to deal with the positive and negatives of any job that you would have. Just like in America, just like in any other country, London, Ireland, wherever you are, wherever you have a job, there's going to be complications. My job is to encourage you to help you be positive and to understand what you're getting into. So don't look at it like, well, dang, I thought I was going to do this and I thought I was. Just understand that it's their school, you're in someone else's country, and you're there to do a job. The job that you signed up for was to teach English as a second language. It wasn't to do anything more. If they ask you to do a little more within the confines of your contract, if your contract does not say you work weekends, you don't work weekends. But if they ask you to do just a little bit more this day, then you might do less the same, next Monday, you might do less. The following Monday, you might do more. So just adapt. Just understand that you are in someone else's country teaching their children your language. And you may feel like you have the right answers. You may feel like you know it all. And of course, technically speaking, when it comes to English, yeah, well, we do because you're not an English speaking country. But you want to keep the peace. Now, that doesn't mean you bow down. Choose your battles wisely. Choose your battles wisely. But I just want people to understand, especially coming through Epic or any kind of orientation where you go through a training and they tell you, this is how it's going to be. They will tell you it may not be like this at your school, but 80% of what's told to you is that you'll be preparing lessons. So when you end up in a situation where you're not really preparing them, rather you're just adding a little bit here and there to them, it can get a little frustrating. I like a challenge. But then I realized it is challenging no matter what. If I'm asked to find a game, then I find a game. If it may seem like it's so simple and easy because the Waygook.org website has so much information, so many games, so many tools that are used that it isn't as hard. You may have to make some changes or tweak it a little bit to fit the class that you're teaching, but it isn't hard. But it's challenging to teach someone who has one language as their main language, your language. So I look at that as my challenge, and I use that to stimulate my mind and helping them grow with the English language. But I just want to encourage you to understand that if you're coming here and you're coming here with the high expectations of, oh, I can't wait to go in there and make change, I can't wait to teach them how to write short stories. It all depends on the situation you're in, but 80%, probably 90% of the time, you're going to be teaching from a textbook. And just understand that whatever they ask you to do. If you have a co-teacher who's flexible, who's willing to hear you out and ask you your ideas, that's a fabulous thing. But if you're not in that kind of situation, Just humble yourself and just take it in, do what you're asked to do, and have fun after you get off work. Just get your mind off of it. It's not something you're doing wrong. A lot of it is pride. A lot of it is pride. And you have to understand, you're coming into their country, and here it is. These teachers have been teachers maybe for 5 and 6 years. Most people who are coming in don't have certifications in education. Most, I should say some. I rephrase that, some. And so for a Korean teacher who has the certification, she's going through the process of what she needs to do. It can be intimidating to have somebody just kind of walk in on your territory, and they're teaching the kids that you've been with for a couple years, and it's like, and kids are already excited because it's something new. So it's like, oh, Maya teacher, hi Maya teacher, and the Korean teacher doesn't get that kind of excitement. And so they're already feeling a little intimidated. They're already feeling a little bothered. So what you just have to learn to do, don't coddle anybody, because they know that they're going to have native teachers. You don't have to coddle. You don't have to, it is what it is. You were asked to do a job, and you're going to do your job. But just, understand that it's not you. Don't take it personal. In the very beginning, I did take it personal because I didn't understand, just the little things that were going on. I didn't get it. If I don't know, if I was told I was supposed to do one thing here and then another, it can be a little confusing. But once you get an idea, which I kind of got an idea after 2 months, I got grounded in and realized what was going on. You learn to just say, okay, this is what it is. Let me do my job. So I just want to again encourage you, if you're coming to Korea to teach English as a second language, just know, like I said, when it comes to co-teaching is two people coming together. But there are different meanings of co-teaching depending on the school that you teach at. I'm thankful that I do have situations where even if I'm only finding the game for the lesson, that Korean teachers have to humble themselves too. Because if they know they don't know, you can tell if they don't know, and they'll know that they don't know. So they're gonna have to ask you. So just find a way to be collective with your co-teacher. Don't make it difficult. And if you're in a situation where it's like, I got this, back off, shorty, you don't know what you're doing, then you have the right to, if you choose that battle to fight, to go down and have a talk or a call. Um, they whatever district you're in, it's whatever. It's always Ministry of Education. So if you're in Busan, it'll be BMOE. If you're in whatever area you're in, there'll be a Ministry of Education office where you can go and take different situations or different issues that maybe you may not be able to work out on your own. It could mean transferring to a new school. I am completely blessed. I had a great experience. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it an 8. With the little knots here and there, my school was very good to me. And again, I have 11 weeks left, so I'm very excited. But just post your questions, post your comments. I'm open to questions and comments. There's a reason why I'm not mentioning my school. There's a reason why I'm not mentioning my city. If you ask and I don't answer, don't take it personal. You'll see that I use Busan as an example. I don't live in Busan. You'll see that I say I teach at an elementary school. I'm not going to give out the name of the school. I just have a moral standard of which I like to ride by because I'm still here. Now, after I leave, if people still have questions, then I have no problem, saying what school I taught at. But I'm going to try to keep that out of it. So I would actually prefer if it's not asked, but I wouldn't get upset if you do ask because some people may not pay attention to the end of the video. So I won't be mentioning my school. I won't be mentioning the city that I live in. Actually, I can. Daejeon, I live in Daejeon. I think the city that I live in, that's not a big deal. Daejeon is really big, so it's not like you can, like you'll be able to figure out what school. But I'm just trying to be professional and respectful to not use names of the actual place I work. But I live in Daejeon City. So if you have any questions about Daejeon, if you've gotten your location and you want to know what it's like living here, I'm not the clubber to hang out at the bars kind of person. So I'm probably not the best person to ask for that, but I can give you some information based on the things that I have been invited to, that I just don't go to. But there's other ways to have fun. And in all honesty, you didn't come to another country to do the same things you were doing in America or wherever you're from. So, but I'm just letting you know up front, I'm open to all questions, but I'm probably not the best person to ask where can we get it popping at? Where can we get to the club? Like, probably not the best person for that because I wouldn't be able to tell you. So, but yes, I live in Daejeon City. So feel free to ask me questions about Dejan, about my experience in Korea. I'll do my best to answer them. And with 11 weeks left, just understand that with 11 weeks, that means I have a lot to do in the short period of time I have left. I'm taking Taekwondo, and we're training every day, so I have a lot on my plate. But I did this to start kind of releasing some maybe of the things that I always wanted to talk about in reference to Korea, and I want to be able to help someone else. So thank you so much. God bless you guys. Bye.